What's going on everyone, and welcome to this AWS Lambda video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to take you through on how to set up multiple S3 events triggers on AWS Lambda function. Before we move on, let's think of a scenario where we want to trigger the Lambda function for put and object remove event for the same S3 bucket. Right, so it probably seems tricky, but it's going to be a straightforward and easy, right? So let's have a look at the events. So I'm randomly selecting a Lambda function and I'm going to add this trigger over here as 3. And here we are just going to look at the event type, right? So what all we have is all object create events, all object delete events, restore from glacier initiated, and so on, right? So now I want to trigger this Lambda function. So this is an example just I'm taking. So I want to trigger this Lambda function on put event as well as on probably permanently deleted event, right? So now as we can see that we cannot set these events in a single trigger. Is that the combined option that we have got are all object create events, that is this one. Then we have got all object delete events, right? So that's all we have got as the combined option. So there is no option for put and delete combined, right? So that we cannot set up both these events type in a single trigger, right? So that's what I'm going to show you, that how we can do that. So again, it's not going to be a single trigger, right? Just to give you a hint, right? So this is going to be a sort of end-to-end tutorial, right? So we will start with the S3 bucket creation, right? So navigate to S3 management console. And we are going to create a bucket over here. I will say multiple trigger demo, and I will say create this bucket. So the bucket is created successfully. Now as the next step, we are going to create the IAM role for the Lambda function. So navigate to IAM management console. So now click on roles in the left panel, and then create role. Select service as Lambda because we are going to create this IAM role for Lambda function. Now within filter policies, we are going to attach two roles, that is S3 full access probably, and Lambda execute. So that is this one, AWS Lambda execute. And I think AWS Lambda execute also gives permission to S3, right? So then click on next, review, give the role name. I will say multiple trigger IAM. And say create role. Now once we are done with creation of the IAM role, let's jump to the Lambda management console. And here we are going to create a new Lambda function. So say create function. Now within the function name, I will say multiple trigger. I will select runtime as Python 3.7. Within the role, select use an existing role and select the role that we have just created. So it's multiple trigger IAM and say create function. So the function has been created successfully. Now here we are going to add a trigger, right? So within trigger configuration, we have to select the service. So that is S3 for us. Within the bucket, select the bucket that we have created as the first step. So in my case, it's multiple trigger demo, right? So if you remember, then I had said earlier that I want to set up a trigger for put event and object removed event, right? So that is this put event, and I want to set a trigger, another trigger on permanently deleted event, right? So I'm going to set this trigger for put event, and I will leave the rest of the configuration as it is, as default, and say add a trigger. So now we have set the trigger for the put event, right? So now we will add another trigger on the same S3 bucket, right? So select service as S3, select the bucket that is multiple trigger demo in my case, and I will select event type as permanently deleted, right? And say add. Right, so as you can see, we have successfully added two triggers with different event type of S3 within this Lambda function, right? So now what I will do is I will simply print event here, and I will say save this function. So now let's go ahead to that S3 bucket and try to upload a file, and it should be able to trigger the Lambda function. So I have this dummy file. I will simply drag and drop here, and I will say upload. So the file is uploaded successfully. Now let's check the logs. So view logs in CloudWatch. And here we are. So the logs has been generated successfully, right? And we have the event printed. Now we can check the event type, right? So within the event name, it says object created and put operation or the put event, right? And you can find rest of the information from this event, right? Like bucket name or the file name, right? So here is the file name, that is key list.txt. Here is the bucket name, and you can also find the metadata within this event, right? So now I'm going to delete this log. Now let me go ahead and delete this file, and it should again trigger the Lambda function. I'll say delete, and the file has been deleted. Now I'm going to refresh this logs, and as you can see, the new log has been generated. Now if we look at the event, right, and within that event, if we look at the event name, now it says object removed, and that is delete operation, right? So this is how you can differentiate between the different events at the code level, right? Now if you want to write a logic within this Lambda function saying that when the object is created, you need to perform XYZ operation, and when the object is deleted, you want to perform ABC operation, right? So with the help of the event name within the event, right? You can put an if condition and you can apply your logic as per your requirement, right? So now it's not like that you have to set both the triggers within the same Lambda function. So you can also add the put object trigger on one Lambda function and delete object trigger on another Lambda function, right? But you cannot set up the same event type for the both Lambda function, right? So for example, if I set or add put event type within this Lambda function, and if I also go ahead and try to set event type as put for the same S3 bucket on the another Lambda function, then it's not going to work because it will not allow to add a trigger with the both same event type on both the Lambda function, right? So you need to keep this in mind, right? So well, that's it for this tutorial. And as usual, if you want me to do tutorial on any use case or service, then please leave them below and I will try my best to come up with the tutorial as soon as possible. And if you have any queries or comments, then again please leave them below and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.